Yo, what's everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to go over 11 video editing cuts in Final Cut Pro 10. Now, disclaimer, these are definitely by no means the best example of each one of these different cuts, but I try my best to find clips that at least came pretty close to the different cuts. I don't have a ton of footage, but I try my best to, at least find, clips that, kind of match up with the different cuts. So just keep that in mind. These aren't like the best examples, and this video is a little bit different than some other videos I've seen. With this video, I want to focus more on kind of the timeline breakdown rather than just talk about the cut and show you an example. I want to show you what it actually looks like in the timeline, because video editing to me is more important to me, and I want to just show you kind of what it looks like in terms of like the timeline breakdown, because I've never really seen a good video on kind of the timeline breakdown of these different cuts. So the first thing I want to go over is the different cutting tools. Now you could go to the clip right here, go to the clip right here, head over here, click on B right here, and then boom, blade the clip. But that's a really painful process, and it takes a very long time. So the first thing I want to go over is the blade tool, so Command B. So I'm going to take this clip right here, press on here, Command B, and then I'm just going to delete it right there. That's the first one right here. I'll put this up on screen. The next one is the trim tool. So if I click over here, option left bracket, trim to the left, and if I go over here, option right bracket, trim to the right. So those are just different cutting tools. This tool is mostly used if you have like tons of small clips, versus you want to use this tool when you're messing with one big large clip, because the trim tool trims everything to the left, and you might only just want to cut out a certain point. So that's when you use the blade tool. So it all depends. You figure out what you're gonna do, and figure out which one works better. But these are the two cutting tools, and I will put them up on screen. The first cut is the standard cut, or the clean cut or the basic cut. So let's play it right here. Wait till we want to start right here. Just kind of play it right there. Okay, let's say I want to start it right here. So I'm going to click on here, option left bracket right here. So there you go. So now the clip is starting right here. So let's keep letting it play through until we want to cut it out. So let's say, okay, so there I want to cut it out. I'm using the right and left arrow keys to kind of go back and forth. So you can see option right bracket. There we go. Now we've trimmed the clip right here. So let's go ahead and play the clip right here. And then as you can see right there. Now basically what I'm going to do is go over here. So let's say I want to go a couple more frames over. Okay, so as soon as he comes in frame right here, go ahead, click on Command B, blade it, and chop it right there. And as you can see, there we go. We'll play it right here. Here's the two cuts right there. So it's just cuts between two clips. This is different than a jump cut. A standard cut is just two different clips just cut together. No fancy transitions, nothing. Just two separate clips cut together, and there you go. There's your standard or basic or clean cut, but I'll just call it a standard cut. The next cut I want to go over is the jump cut. Now this is a little bit different from the standard cut, and this cut is used mostly for like YouTube videos, so voiceovers, talking heads, or those like little commentary videos. Those are primarily what these are used for. So let's go ahead and play it right here. So you can see right here, here's the cut. So if you just kind of watch me right here, watch me speak right there, and then kind of watch the cut right here, as you can see, boom, now it just jumps to me again. So this is really helpful. Like instead of remembering like a 10-minute script, you can kind of record in 30-40 second intervals and then make it cut, and then you can create what's called a jump cut right here. So you can see right here, there's a pause, and then boom, it jumps to the next scene. It's pretty obvious that there is a jump cut, so you got to be very careful with how you do jump cuts. Sometimes you want to use them for a comedic purpose, sometimes you want to use them just because you want to use them, but you want to be very careful with the jump cuts, because yes, as you can see right there, that's a pretty jarring cut. Like it's definitely people are obviously going to notice that is a jump cut, but as simple as that. It's just basically jumping between clips right here. So you can see right here in the beginning of this clip, I kind of took a breath, in the second clip right here. So basically I stopped speaking, got set up for the next clip right here, and then started speaking right there, and it kind of creates this really cool jump cut. So definitely can be really helpful if you want to kind of pass time. I have another name for a cut similar to this, but primarily this is just used for voiceovers, talking headshots, YouTube videos. Instead of remembering standing in front of the camera and remembering a 10-minute clip, 10-minute script, you can go ahead and just record in 30-40 second intervals and just create them these jump cuts. Now you could also use overlays to cover up the jump cuts, but you may also want a jump cut, so it depends on the look that you're going for. But that's just a jump cut. It's just simply jumping between the same scene right there. As you can see right there, it just basically shows the passing of time right there. And the next cut I want to go over, or cuts, is the J cut and the L cut right here. So I'm going to put this up on screen right here. This is just a basic idea of the J cut and the L cut right here. These are definitely pretty difficult cuts to figure out. It definitely took me a while to figure how to do this because frankly there weren't, a lot of videos kind of showing the editing breakdown. They just kind of talked about the different cut right there. So I'll basically just go over kind of how to create this jump cut right here. So what you could do is you can click on the clip right here and you could click on detach audio, and that by all means works, but the problem is there's no way to reattach the audio as far as I know. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead, take the clip right here, click on the audio, double click on the audio right there. So you can see right here, if I double click back on the audio, as you can see right there, it reconnects the clip. So just double click on the audio right here, and then all you're doing right here is you're basically taking the first clip right here, so taking the first clip, the second clip right here, and you're just trimming it right here, so you can see right there, and I'm just trying to line the audio up right there. So the basic of a J cut is the audio comes before the visual right here. So if I go ahead and play it right here, as you can see right here, you'll see me stop speaking, but the audio of the second clip will come in, and then as you can see right there, now you move on to the second clip. So simple as that. The audio from the second clip carries over into the second clip right there. So as you can see right there, see right here, I'm talking right here, I'm talking right here, and now the audio from the second clip is playing, but you still see the first clip right here, and then you seamlessly jump into the second clip. So it's a much more seamless transition, or a more seamless cut than a jump cut. And this is really useful. Let's say I have like this whole B-roll sequence right here, and instead of just the B-roll sequence ending and then jump cutting to me, maybe have the audio come in 1 or 2 seconds, under the B-roll before it finally comes over to me right there. So it's just really simple as that. Detach the audio, take this, all you're doing is you're just taking the video right here, and you're just literally just dragging the video right there, and voila, you have created a J cut. Now basically an L cut is the opposite. The L cut, you're moving the first clip. The J cut, you're moving the second clip. Now the fourth cut I want to go over is the J cut. So I'm going to go over here and just double click on the audio right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this clip, the first clip right here, and just drag it over right there. So you can see it's the opposite of a J cut right there. So basically you can see right here, now it plays me. It plays the second clip, but the audio from the first clip is still playing. So I'm talking right here, the audio is still playing from the first clip, but it shows the second clip first, and the second clip, and then it transitions right there. So that's a little bit of the difference. So the J cut, the audio from the second clip comes first, whereas the L cut, the video from the second clip comes first, and then you transition into the audio. So you may ask yourself, well, when would I actually really use an L cut? It's definitely a very rare cut, but primarily you would use an L cut for dialogue. So let's say I have 2 people right here, I'm talking right here, and then I cut over to the next person to kind of show that person's reaction of what I'm saying, and then that person keeps talking. So it's very good for dialogue, this to kind of show the reaction of the second person. So maybe the 2 characters are sitting on a couch or something, sitting facing each other. I want to show the reaction of the second character, and then boom, go over and have the person speak. It's just much better than just kind of having like a jarring jump cut when the next person speaks. So that's just, I think it's a really nice kind of seamless cut. The next cut I want to go over is the match cut. So basically what you're just doing is you're matching the actions of each character or 2 different scenes. You're basically matching the character's action into the next scene right here. And again, this isn't the best example, but you basically have Christian McCaffrey running towards the camera, and then you have Davante Adams running towards the camera. So Christian McCaffrey is running towards the camera, then I switch to Davante Adams running towards the camera. So basically the 2 characters are doing the same action. They're both running towards the camera. Now granted, it's not like a perfect match cut, but the idea is you're basically matching the character's action. So maybe let's say someone's going up for a dunk, then you cut to somebody else also going up for a dunk, pretty much in the same position. You're basically just matching the character's actions, and it can definitely be a really nice seamless cut. It's definitely hard to find clips to create a good match cut, so hence why it was hard for me to find a good match cut. But I just want to go over and kind of show you a relative idea of how to create the cut. The next cut I want to go over is the cutaway, and basically the cutaway is just b-roll. So you can see right here, I'm just talking about the camera right here, and now I show a photo of the camera as well as I show a video of the camera. So it's basically just b-roll. So let's say maybe you have like from a movie or something, you have some sort of intro scene, and a person's talking about a character or a place or something happened. Rather than just show that character for 2 minutes straight talking about it, it's always a good idea to show b-roll, to show what that person's talking about, because it's great for someone, sit in front of the camera and speak for 5 minutes about a camera, but it makes a lot more sense too if you also show the camera. So a cutaway is basically called b-roll. You're basically just overlaying, you're just putting overlays of what the person is talking about. So you see it constantly in YouTube videos where if you put overlays, it's much more engaging than just sitting and staring at somebody for 6 minutes straight. The next cut is the cut on action. Now again, this is not the best example of what I'm trying to do, but I tried to find a decent example. So basically all you're doing is, like the cut says, cutting on action right there. So you see, boom, as soon as Dalvin Cook hits Deion Jones, so as soon as he hits Deion Jones right here, I then basically just cut to the clip. So it's basically just cutting on action. So you may, let's say someone punched somebody, somebody hit somebody, someone kicked somebody, so maybe doing like an action sequence, or maybe you're filming like a boxing promo right there. So you have like a really cool punch, a really cool kick, and that definitely is pretty obvious cut on action. But you can even do simple things like someone moves their head or somebody stands up. Just basically any kind of action, try cutting on it, because it will definitely look a lot more seamless. It might not always look good, but it's always a good idea just to try it. If you have any sort of action, try cutting on a different action, especially if you have different camera scenes, cut on the different action, and I guarantee you at least one of them is going to look good, if not all of them. The next cut I want to go over is cutting to the beat or cutting to the music. So as you can see right here are the pretty obvious beats right here. So where the bass drops, wherever a pretty obvious beat is, as you can see, I basically just lined up the clips with the beat right here. So it's simple as that. You basically line up the clips and you basically edit it to the beat right there. Simple as that. All you want to do is you want to just take a gap clip, Option W, go frame by frame, add markers, listen to it over and over again. There's no exact science to figuring out how to actually do this cut. It's basically just something you just have to experiment with. Every song's gonna be different, every beat's gonna be obvious, some beats aren't gonna be obvious, so you basically just mess with it. It takes a long time, but it's something definitely worth it. If you like a really obvious sequence of beats, it makes a lot more sense to just cut to those beats, because I guarantee you it's going to look a lot more seamless. The next cut I want to go over is what I like to call the quick cut, or kind of like a hybrid of the jump cut. And basically it's the same idea where you're basically speeding up time. Now one instance where I see people using this cut wrong is, let's say someone's doing some sort of action, it takes like 2 minutes. Instead of doing this, they speed up the clip. And to me, I personally think that looks very unprofessional. Speed ramping can be nice, but if you're just speeding up someone walking around, it looks incredibly unprofessional. So I think using quick cuts is a much better idea. So basically what you're doing right here, as you can see, I'm just kind of skimming through it. So you can see this is an old video that I did where basically just unboxed the Osmo Action, or the DJI Osmo Mobile right there. And as you can see, basically this whole clip of me placing it on the ground, placing the different things on the table, and setting up the DJI, that took a good 4 or 5 minutes. But because I cut on the different actions right here, so you can see right here, I placed it, next cut, placed it, next cut, placed it. So I basically just kind of sped up time. Instead of having the clip run for like 5 minutes, I just made different cuts so it went a lot faster. So I guess it can be the same kind of idea of the jump cut right there, but it basically just helps speed up time. So instead of having like a 5-minute clip, just cut out different parts to make it kind of speed up time. I'm sure you've probably seen this cut a lot. So you can see this is another example right here. So I basically, as you can see right here, I start to unzipper it. Instead of showing me, as you can see right here, unzipper the entire thing, I had me start to unzipper it, and then boom, I cut to me finishing it. So instead of showing the entire cut of me unzippering the box right there, I basically just start right here, cut out the middle, and then show the end. And then you can see right there, and that's pretty much it right there. So you can see right here, open it up right here. I opened it right here. Instead of showing me, bringing it into frame, I just cut right to it being in frame, and then I screwed it on right there. So you can see I made a little bit of a cut right there. So quick cuts are really nice to just help show the speeding up of time. By the way, if you want to know how I skimmed, I just press this little icon right there. The 10th cut I want to go over is what I think people call like a smash cut, or just call like a cutting up the music. And basically, let's say you're like a really cool, let's say right here you have like a really cool, epic B-roll shot, really cool epic B-roll shot, and then you maybe just like cut to you like sitting in a car, starting off the video talking about the trip. Instead of having that cool hype music play and then have it keep playing as you're talking, it doesn't really look good. So I would try experimenting with cutting out the music. So maybe cutting out the music with like a serious part, an awkward part, a funny part. Let's say it's kind of like a weird, awkward part. It's probably a good idea to try cutting out the music. Basically, this cut just helps change the mood. There's no, right or wrong way. It's definitely hard to describe this cut, but try it. Try cutting out the music. Let's say your sequence, goes on. You realize, actually, what if I cut out the music? I think it would actually, you'll create a different mood. So just try it. Try cutting out the music. Don't always, especially if you're doing a YouTube video, don't just always have the music played the entire clip. Sometimes it's a good idea to try experimenting with cutting out the music. It can help change the pacing. It can change the mood. So it's definitely just a very interesting idea, and especially if you have like a really cool action sequence, and then you have kind of like a very kind of like quiet, mellow part. It makes a lot of sense just to cut out the music. Also, you could add a riser. I think it would just be a really cool way to just kind of change the mood, so you're kind of really excited, and then boom, you're kind of brought in this kind of quiet, awkward, kind of weird situation. So it can definitely help create the pacing and create the mood. It's just kind of an idea. Just try it out. It doesn't always work, but it's just an idea. Now the next cut I want to go over is the fade or the crossfade, and if you watch a lot of old Disney animations, you'll see this cut being used a lot. A lot of times they won't just jump cut from scene to scene. They'll kind of either freeze frame it, or they'll show a very slow scene, and then as you can see right here, it slowly just fades into the next scene. And if you want to wonder what that's called, this is just called a cross dissolve. So just use a cross dissolve. So basically, you're just fading between two scenes. Instead of having a harsh jump cut, you basically just fade. So it's like a fade cut, or like a cross fade cut. Pretty much it. Those are all the different 11 video editing cuts. I know they weren't the best example, but I tried my best to find at least decent clips that showed the idea of these different cuts. And this video is more to go over the concept and the idea of these different cuts, just to help make you aware there's some really cool cuts. And I highly encourage you to just experiment with a couple of these different cuts. They're just really cool different cuts, because yes, spoiler alert, the jump cut is not the only cut. There are tons of even more cuts than this. There are a whole bunch of cuts. So I encourage you, if you really want to try to learn editing, try do a little more research. I did my best to cover some of my favorite cuts, or some of the more popular cuts, but that's pretty much it. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you found it helpful and informative. If you're new to this channel, I upload Final Cut Pro 10 tutorials every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you enjoy these types of videos, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, a Final Cut Pro 10 tutorial playlist with over 240 Final Cut Pro 10 tutorials. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.